Hey YouTube family, thank you for joining me for another Devo 315. This time, I want to talk to you about, is truth subjective or objective? Let's make that distinction. And stick with me till the end of this video because I got a test for you. Hey, Devo 315 family, I appreciate you guys joining me again. This week I want to drop this on you for you to begin the thought process of whether truth is subjective or objective. First of all, let me define my terms. If you want to know what I mean by truth, well, check out the video here. So what do I mean by subjective? Well, subjective truth is when whatever you're saying or making an assertion about is towards you, the subject. If you're, if you will, the center of the universe regarding what you're speaking about. So to use the illustration of ice cream, if I said that Snickers bar ice cream is the best ice cream that there is, well, I'm referring to me. The subject is what that truth is grounded in. So it makes it subjective. What makes it subjective is also the fact that it's based on a preference. And the preference, of course, is grounded in me, the subject. Now, of course, I wouldn't walk up to somebody in the aisle of a grocery store where they sell the ice cream and say, hey, can I introduce you to the one true ice cream? Of course that's ridiculous, right? So subjective truth is when it's grounded in the subject or the person saying or making the assertion about themselves or a thing like ice cream, okay? Objective truth, and I'm sure you're smart enough to have picked this up already, is when the statement is grounded in the object, something outside of the subject, beyond ourselves. Like for instance, if I say that I have a blue shirt on, now granted it's on me, the subject, but it's beyond my preference. Now I may say I like this blue shirt or I like the color blue, but it is objectively true beyond myself, whether I actually believe it or not, that this shirt is light blue. It's a shade of blue. And in the same way, we refer to things outside of ourselves or beyond the human experience, if you will, objectively. Another way of putting objective truth as far as this definition goes is to say that things can be true for all places, in all people, in all places, at all times. And it's true whether you believe it or not. Because if you remember from our previous videos, truth is something that is discovered, right? But objective truth is not created. It is discovered. For instance, before Newton discovered the laws of gravity, do you think gravity existed? Of course it did. Now, whether we ever discovered gravity, it existed. And the interesting thing about objective truth is that, like the laws of logic, which we apply to discover truth, things can be true before even humanity existed on this planet. So we have objective truth that is true for everybody in all places and all times, that's grounded in the object that we're discussing. And we have subjective truth, which is based on my preference. Now, why is this important? Well, it's important because the culture likes to try to tell us that ideas of morality and religion are simply subjective preferences. And if that's true, well then just pick one that works for you, right? Now, the worst part about that is that's a statement about morality. It's a statement about morality and about religion that they would believe, or whoever makes that statement is making it objectively. See, it's interesting how we stumble across objective truth, even when we deny objective truth in the areas of morality and religion. So what does this all mean? What does this have to do with the Christian life, and what does this have to do with reality? Here's the test that I want to give you. I'm going to name a couple things. And between you, yourself, and your notepad, I want you to decide, or at least make the guess, an educated guess, on whether these things fall under the category of subjective truth or objective truth. 1. Snickers bar ice cream is the best ice cream in the world. 2. Premarital sex is a sin. 3. The color red is the best color there is. 4. God exists. 5. The Jews were wrong about Jesus, and he really is the Messiah. I want you to think about those things, because if you categorize some of those in the realm of subjectivity and they're really objective, what you're saying is, for instance, God exists, well, that's just really whatever you happen to believe. It's your preference. But if God's existence can be grounded in objective truth, or if it's objectively true that God exists, then God exists whether you believe he exists or not. And there are ways that we come about that conclusion, and we'll get into those in other videos, such as arguments for God's existence. But I want to leave you with that today. I want you to think about that. And let me give you one more illustration to kind of ground what I'm saying. I'm talking a lot about Snickers bar ice cream, really because I'm trying to manipulate you to realize that it really is the best ice cream. Just kidding. Actually, I'm not kidding. It is the best ice cream in the world. But nevertheless, that's still your preference of whether you like it or not. Let me ask you this question. If I said that Snickers bar ice cream is medicine to help control insulin, what would you say to that? Well, hopefully you'd be laughing the same way I am. That's ridiculous, right? What if I said, though, that insulin is the medicine used to control diabetes? Well, that's objectively true, isn't it? Because if you try to take ice cream and apply that as a way to control diabetes, well, you're going to end up in a coma. At very least, you'll go into sugar shock. If it's true objectively that insulin is the medicine used to control diabetes, it begins to give us some insight into how objective truth works in reality. See, we demand things to be objectively true when we go to our bank, or when we go buy a car, or when we go to college and we try to learn things. But why is it that so much of culture denies objective truth in morality and religion? See, I don't think it actually is grounded in the person. I think you can know these things objectively. Hence the test to begin your journey on discovering those things. Please share this video. Subscribe to this channel. Because as the Musing Christian, I'm here to help you engage other people, to grow in your faith, to have a smart faith, so that we can show that Christianity is actually true, and we can spread the good news of Jesus Christ to the entire world. God bless. Until the next time. My little man wants to say hey, hey.